Am I the a-hole for siding with my wife when she refused to let my son install the lock his mom got him for his room? I married my current wife 6 years ago. She has a 14-year-old son and I have a 16-year-old son from a previous marriage. We normally don't deal with a ton of issues as a blended family. My stepson, Joshua, is nice to everyone and likes sharing a lot. It's his way of forming strong bonds. My son, Scotty, however, is the complete opposite. He hates sharing. It is very private. He takes offense to his brother going to his room and borrowing stuff from him. He hates that Joshua does it frequently, but my wife and I thought it was completely normal as long as Joshua returns everything later. Scotty started complaining about it openly lately, saying Joshua's gone too far with his behavior, taking stuff constantly without permission. My wife and I came up with a solution, which was getting Scotty safe to store his valuable possessions. But Scotty said this wasn't enough since he has tons of stuff and can't put it all in safe. It all came to a head last week when Joshua took Scotty's Lego collection to take pictures of it outside house. It accidentally broke a couple of pieces. Scotty blew up and got his mom involved. My ex-wife then bought and sent him a lock to install in his bedroom door the same day, which got my wife go mad, calling her disrespectful and overstepping to send locks over to our house. They had a verbal fight on the phone and I returned home to see my wife arguing with Scotty after he refused to return the lock. I asked what the heck was going on, and my wife said Scotty was expecting her to let him install the lock his mom sent to our house. She said neither boy is allowed to have locks. Scotty said he was done with Joshua taking and breaking his stuff, and begged me to say something, and convinced my wife to let him keep the lock. But I told him my wife was right, and that it was disrespectful of his mom to send a lock to our house. Scotty said if we're so against his mom getting him a lock, then I should get him one instead. But I refused, since my wife said neither boy is allowed a lock, so it's not like Joshua has a lock and Scotty doesn't. Scotty threw a fit, calling me terrible, and that he can't wait to move out and be done with our nonsense. We had Joshua apologize, but still Scotty isn't having it. My former in-laws argued that I was being unfair to Scotty after we complained to them, and told me to let him keep the lock and not side with my wife and her son. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Yes, you're the a-hole. I have news for you. Joshua is not nice to everyone. Being nice includes respecting other people's belongings and their privacy, but he's not doing that with your son. He invades Scotty's privacy, takes his stuff without permission, and apparently damages some of it. That's not sharing, for Pete's sake. That is taking without permission. We have a word for that, and it's not sharing. You are the problem here. You do nothing to correct Joshua's bad behavior or support Scotty in setting entirely reasonable boundaries for his privacy. You obviously favor your stepson and have zero respect for Scotty's need for privacy and security that his things belongs to him. Your ex was right on to send him a lock. Thank goodness she's looking out for his concerns, since you won't, and your a-hole wife doesn't think it matters. Fun fact, nice people typically don't steal. Fun fact 2. Taking without asking is stealing. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. Poor Scotty. No privacy to one parent who doesn't stand up for him. If I was him, I'll move out. Don't worry, that's coming really soon. Part 2. My son moved out and doesn't want to talk to me. It says I'm the a-hole. But I just wanted to teach him sharing and completely disregard his boundaries and privacy. His mom shouldn't have gotten him a lock for your house without discussing this with you first. It's an adult issue that the child is now in the middle of, and he is going to resent you for it. You shouldn't let your wife get so explosive and make decisions about parenting without you, especially considering there is another parent in the situation. You should have been able to tell Scotty that she and you have to speak about this, because his mom did not mention this to either of you. At the end of the day, the lock should go on Scotty's door. He feels disrespected, and like he has no place he can go to be safe. With that being said, you can make a rule. If it's a lock with a key as opposed to one you can open with a coin, you, his father, will need to have a copy of the key as well, in case of any emergencies. As well, you will need to emphasize to him that he is not to have his room locked all hours of the day when he is in there. Set boundaries with your son and explain to his mother that she overstepped, and to please discuss this next time. What's stopping his wife from taking that key and unlocking the door for her son to resume stealing when Scotty is at his mom's or away? She can't be trusted to respect boundaries. I hope he has proved he has no backbone when it comes to her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my wife parent my daughter? My wife and I, both 38, married a year ago after dating for 2. I have a girl from a previous marriage, Zoe, 15, and wife has a son, Saul, 16. My wife comes from a Mexican, deeply religious family. I'm an atheist, and so is my ex-wife. That means that we don't force any religion upon Zoe, but if she feels drawn to any of them, then we're more than okay with letting her find her own spirituality. My wife feels different. She has raised Saul to be Catholic, and my stepson has told her that as soon as he turns 18, religion is over for him, and that every time my wife tries to bring him closer to our God, it only draws her further away. I've tried to talk to my wife, but she refuses to listen, and claims that Saul is her son, so the final decision comes from her and her family, not me. I had no other choice but to back off. But then my wife started to make some remarks about Zoe not being close to God, and that we had to do something to save her. I said that my ex and I decided to let her do her thing in that matter long ago, and that my daughter wasn't damned in any way. Recently, Zoe got a boyfriend, and my wife is pretty much against the matter. She has tried to tell her that she's too young, that she shouldn't be doing that, because in the eyes of God, she was getting strained. Zoe tries to be polite most of the time, but told me that my wife is being misogynistic and that she feels disrespected. Every time that happens, I cut my wife off. Things blew up when my wife found out that Zoe wasn't pale. I was outside with Saul fixing my bike when I heard her yelling at Zoe. We both got in and I saw my daughter on the couch crying. My wife was going at her pretty hard. She called my kids some pretty nasty choice words and called me an a-hole parent for letting my daughter sin so young. But the thing is that Zoe's on a pill for something regarding her period, and not because she's sexually active. Her mom took her to the doctor and told me a few weeks ago. Zoe ran to her room and my wife asked me why I never told her, and I said that I didn't think it needed to because it was my daughter's privacy. She said that I'm not letting her parent my daughter, but I told her that as long as she tries to force religion on a kid, parenting is not a choice. Now her family's at me for letting my daughter take the pill and that it's only an excuse to sleep with his boyfriend. They said that she has to deal with her period naturally, but I don't agree. I am going to give a judgment for this question. Not a hole. You should support your daughter. She's old enough to know her own mind about religion. If the doctor prescribes her the pill for period reasons, that is no business of your wife and certainly not of your in-laws. She's old enough to have medical privacy. But dude, you're a total a-hole for marrying this woman. How did you not have a conversation about religion and about how much input you get into raising each other's kids? These are two of the biggest topics any marriage will face, and you seem to be completely shocked that your wife has gone down this path. I have a feeling you blew through a ton of red flags on the way to the altar. Not a hole. She said Saul is her son, so the final decision comes from her and her family, not me. So by her own logic, she needs to back off your daughter. Honestly, after she was shouting at your daughter, I would have left her. Maybe not for good, but until she got her act together, and probably some therapy. I drove Zoe to her mother, but I didn't want to leave Saul alone with her, so I stayed. I can't take him with me, so I'm doing the best I can for both kids. Everyone sucks here. You entered into a marriage with major incompatibility issues. Now it's negatively affecting your daughter. Well done. People with different religious beliefs and practices can 100% be in committed relationships together, as long as they respect each other's beliefs. From the way it sounds, Opie and his wife have been more than fine together for quite a while, and his wife's attitude has gradually become more disrespectful, with a sudden and full-on lurch into screaming at his daughter over it. Opie isn't the a-hole for that, but with the way his wife is acting now, he needs to consider his options for protecting his daughter. Not the a-hole. Perhaps they can. However, it isn't the case in this scenario. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for punishing my daughter this way for what she told her blind dad? My husband Rod, 52 male, is legally blind. He is not completely blind, but close. It's not a genetic issue, but a brain injury that happened when he was a baby. Rod is completely independent, but needs a little bit of help for reading small letters, cooking, typing on a computer, etc. Rod, in my opinion, is a great father and husband. My daughter Raina, 15 female, has always been a little resentful of Rod. Growing up, she didn't have the normal father-daughter experience. Raina's always been into sports, but because of Rod's incapacity to engage in physical activity that involves coordination, they were never able to bond over that, and Raina never forgave Rod for it. My husband feels especially guilty about this. Reina is going through her angsty teenager phase. She has been acting out, is rude with everyone, especially my husband. Reina likes upsetting Rod, and he never defends himself, so he's the perfect victim. We were going in our first family outing since the global panini started. To go out, Rod uses this big, chunky glasses that makes his eyes look huge, almost like a caricature. My husband is super insecure of his appearance when he uses them, and our family knows it. My daughter comes downstairs and with the most offended tone of voice she says, "Oh my god, Dad, are you trying to embarrass me? Your eyes look horrendous with those glasses on." I was pissed. I canceled the outing and told her to go to her room and to not come out until dinner time. Reina is big into her appearance. She wears colored, graduated contacts because, ironically, she needs to wear glasses, but she hates wearing them. She isn't uncomfortable wearing them or gets any headaches. She just doesn't like how she looks with glasses on. As a punishment, Reina will not be allowed to wear contacts for a month. I told Reina about her punishment and she is tremendously mad at me. She has a party in a week, and since the punishment is for a month, Reina will attend a party with glasses on. She's also returning back to in-person classes, so she will attend school wearing glasses. She says that she will apologize to Rod and will never disrespect him again, but I don't believe her. Rod chimed in and said that maybe the punishment is way too harsh, but I don't think so. Reina then called me names and locked herself in her bedroom. Rod says that I'm being way too hard on Reina and bordering a-hole territory, which is why I'm here. Now for the top comments. This seems like a proportionate reaction to me. She intentionally made a hurtful comment about someone's appearance. As punishment, she is not permitted to use something that enhances her appearance to herself, but she will still be able to function normally without. Not an a-hole. She's going to feel absolutely terrible about this as an adult, unless she's a narcissist. I wonder what the right way is to navigate this behavior? She obviously is insecure, which is a valid feeling, but you just can't crapple over your appearance because you're insecure. Maybe talk therapy, OP? Not an a-hole. Not an a-hole. I'm sorry, but this is really good for you to teach your daughter a lesson because she should not be disrespecting her father. If you let her get away with something like this, she'll think it's fine to do it in the future. Good on you for teaching your daughter morals and respect. Everyone sucks here. Taking away contacts, something she needs in order to see and function, is a harsh punishment. She should certainly be punished, but I think a better punishment is needed. Perhaps having her do volunteer work for people who are blind, or working with those who are going blind. It may open her up to the fact that she's lucky her father can see something rather than nothing, and how most people would kill to wear Coke bottle glasses as opposed to being totally blind. She has options. She can wear her glasses. She can then get an idea of how her dad feels. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not making sure my ex knew the names of our kids' teachers? My ex, 35 male and I, 36 female, divorced last year. In the beginning, we were pretty civil. Things have changed. It is pretty hostile with me. We have 2 kids together. I have primary custody of our kids and have them about 75% of the time. The decree states the kids are to go to school in the zone based in my residence. Since I had moved out after our divorce, I'm in a new school zone. I have made him aware over the summer that I need to follow the decree and transfer. He was very against this. Ultimately, it's my decision, but I try to get his input before decisions are made. I made sure the kids were okay with this transition to a new school, then registered them for school. I texted him to tell him they were now registered for the new school. No response. The next day, the school had a meet the teacher night. I texted him the teacher's name. No response. One of our daughters wanted a pink streak in her hair. I texted him to ask if he was okay with that. No response. There were a few other texts I sent with no response from him. I thought this was so bizarre because pretty much all summer he's been harassing me. Because of this, I have retained a lawyer to do a modification so a judge makes us use a parenting app to text. It should limit the harassment and horrible texts. Morning of the first day of school came and I was getting the kids ready for school. My phone was on Do Not Disturb. Checked the time and I had 17 missed calls from 7 a.m. to 7:25. Then he called again. I told him I'm doing their hair, but I'll put you on speaker. He starts berating me, telling me I ruined this special moment for him, and he wanted to see them off. He made it seem to the kids that I intentionally left him out of loop. Even though our homes are in different school zones, he lives close. I told him we are leaving for school in 10 minutes and he can meet us there. We hung up. I texted him the teachers' names again. He didn't show up. Later, I got many awful texts. He said I messed up his chance to see them off. He told me he needs to take custody of the kids for what I've done. He asked why he waited until the morning of the first day of school to make arrangements with me. But he said he blocked me because I called his new girlfriend's son a friend of our kids instead of brother. My kids had never said brother, but call him a BFF. He said I disrespected him and his family and this was my punishment. Him blocking me is like #goals because I know the kids need contact with him. But it was nice those few days not hearing from him. I feel like this is completely on him. Had he not blocked me, he would have received important texts regarding the kids and information on their new school and teachers' names. He also could have made arrangements the night prior after he was done punishing me. Lol. All he did was punish himself and his children. What if there had been an emergency? I could be blinded by my frustrations with him, but I need to know. Am I the a-hole? Man, you need to bring this up with a judge again. He legit is just harassing you. This type of attitude should warrant some attention from the judge. Not the a-hole, by the way. We have court in a couple weeks. This is just one of many examples where I'm pretty sure I'm in the right, but I could absolutely be blinded by my disdain for him. My attorney thinks I'm not the a-hole. He clearly is the a-hole. Also, he knew you were on speakerphone and berated you in front of your children. This seems one-sided as hell, and you're painting yourself as a victim and innocent person. Everything was good, then unexplained event, and now he's hostile. I told my children about changing schools, never confirmed they agreed or wanted to, and finished with, ultimately it's my choice. Screw him, but I'm kind enough to let him partake. Through your writing, it looks like your ex just randomly changed attitude, became awful, whatever, without any reason whatsoever. By the way, telling someone they messed up isn't mistreatment. Calling about your children isn't harassment. You really feel like the typical divorcee or ex. And to hell with gender here. Just being petty and making issues for the sake of it. Also, yes, he berated you over the phone. Put that on speaker though. Couldn't you have done better than manipulate the situation to your advantage? Am I the a-hole? My dad and his wife threw my mom's things in the trash, and I took them back out and refused to give them back. My mom died when I, 17 female, was 10, and my dad remarried almost 3 years ago. Last month, my dad's wife got mad at my dad for keeping so many of mom's things, or things that symbolized their marriage. He kept her engagement and wedding rings in a box, his own on a chain around his neck, my mom's postcard collection that she started as a kid, her favorite stuffed animal, a bottle of her perfume, her keychain, her passport holder, the cooking and baking books she used to experiment with, and a locket she wore all the time. My brother, 20 male, and I got her jewelry and other items she had. They were shared between us after mom died, and they're at our aunt's house for safekeeping. My dad's wife said she wanted all that stuff gone. The wedding photos, any couple photos of them, and any family photos with mom in them had to be put away. But the rest had to go. My dad fought back for a day, but then they started throwing all the stuff into garbage bags, and they were brought out to the trash. When they weren't looking, I took all of it and brought it to my aunt's to keep it safe. It took 2 days for my dad's wife to realize the trash was empty, and then she and my dad realized I had taken the stuff. My dad's wife went crazy and said they were in the trash for a reason. I told her I wasn't letting my mom's stuff go like that. She said it doesn't need to be in her house, and I said it wasn't anymore, so she wouldn't need to see it. She said it was nothing but bad memories, and that they didn't need to be in her and dad's marriage. I told her she didn't need to worry because they weren't dad's anymore. Dad told me to just give the stuff back to them and they'd deal with it, but I refused. His wife said she wasn't allowing that kind of disrespect in her house, and Dad said it would be dealt with. They asked a few people if they had them, and everyone said no, including my brother, who told them he thought they were both disgusting and that he didn't want to talk to them again. When that didn't work, my dad tried to convince me again, but he failed. He said I was making it worse.
My dad's wife told me she's my stepmother and deserves more respect. I said she'll never be my stepmother. She'll never be my family. She's just my dad's insecure second wife who'll never be good enough to be seen as family by me or my brother. I told her I'm not giving them back. She tried to get the police involved and accused me of stealing, but they brushed her off because I live in the house and took them from the trash. So, she said I'm a thief and the most disrespectful kind there is. She asked if doing this was worth hurting my relationship with them, and I told her I didn't care about having a relationship with her to begin with. I told her she was nothing to me and to stop acting like she has some kind of real authority over me. I told her I was willing to accept whatever consequences they gave, because I would be leaving as soon as possible, and nothing she said or did would stop me. My dad stopped her from taking everything I own as leverage, but he's still applying pressure. It's been annoying to deal with, but it could be way worse. But I came here to find out from outside parties if they think I'm wrong for what I'm doing. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Honestly, what the heck? Your dad's wife is crazy for even going to the police. You should run as soon as you can. That woman sounds like a psychopath because being insecure would not make her do those actions. Also, shame on your father for not defending you. It's memories of your dead mom. Of course you would want to keep them. It's not enough that it's out of the house and not in her husband's possession. She wants it in the trash and destroyed, so it can never be found again. She's so insecure. It's one thing for her to decide she didn't like having so many memories of your mother on display in the house, though it's very insecure to insist on none. But it's quite something else to insist they must actually be thrown away in the trash, rather than put into storage where she can't see them or stored in a relative's home. Those items obviously meant something to your dad for him to have kept them, and to try and argue against her actions before eventually giving in. So it's utterly outrageous that he's backing her in insisting she get them back so she can put them all in the trash. Genuinely disgusting behavior on her part, and utterly pathetic on your father's. I'm so sorry you're dealing with this, but I'm glad other family members have your back and are supporting you in keeping all these cherished items safe. Not the a-hole, not by a long shot. Oh yeah, she wants the symbolism of my dad throwing them out like she wants him to, not even just hiding them or giving them to me and my brother. She said she doesn't want to see them in our future homes one day, but she won't ever have to worry about that. Not the a-hole, but anything of yours that you care about needs to go to your aunt's house ASAP. Stepmom will 100% take it or throw it out. I already got the important stuff, documents out, and sentimental stuff, especially if mom bought them for me. All that's being stored at my aunt's house. Is your dad generally an a-hole, or is he just being walked all over? Not generally, but he might have been good at hiding this stuff too. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my late fiancé's ring to my sister? So, this has turned into a huge fight in my family, and I don't know if I'm in the wrong or not. I, 30 female, lost my fiancé David 3 years ago in a car accident. It was horrible, and I'm still healing from it. One of the few things I have left of him is my engagement ring. I don't wear it anymore, but I keep it in a box on my dresser because it means the world to me. Last week, my younger sister Elsie, 26 female, got engaged, and we were all super happy for her. But then she pulled me aside and asked me for a favor. She said that since I'm not using David's ring anymore, I should give it to her, so she can use the diamond for her own ring. I just stared at her and asked if she was serious. She said yes, because it would be a beautiful way to honor David, and also be practical since diamonds are expensive. I told her absolutely not. The ring is one of the last things I have of David, and I'm not giving it away. She got upset and said I was being selfish. Since I'm dating someone new now, I should be moving on and letting go of the past. I told her that moving on does not mean erasing David from my life. Then she started crying, which got my mom involved. My mom immediately took her side, saying that holding onto the ring is only keeping me stuck in grief, and that giving it to Elsie would help me move forward and be symbolic. I told them both to drop it, but Elsie keeps texting me, saying she deserves a family heirloom, just like our cousins got, and that I'm being cruel for keeping it to myself. My boyfriend is totally on my side and thinks Elsie is being ridiculous, but some in my family is acting like I'm the bad guy. So, am I the a-hole? She sees your ring as a family heirloom just because your fiancé died. Isn't that disturbing? She has zero right to the ring, not the a-hole. That was just an excuse. I bet the diamond is a good size and really beautiful. Her own fiancé probably can't afford the same, and she is jealous of it. The mom, immediately taking the sister's side, also screams spoiled golden child. She rarely got to hear no and thought the request was reasonable. Not the a-hole, and I would tell them to stop immediately. It's disrespectful, and that I'm blocking them for a week to think about it. If they mention it again, I'm blocking them a month and not going to the wedding. And immediately place that ring under lock and key. This was my first thought. Put that ring in a safe deposit box immediately. I might also threaten to call her fiancé and tell him, my sister is so sure you can't provide a good ring that she is harassing me for the last memento of my dead fiancé. Would she really like that? Him knowing he isn't enough without the right ring? Hopefully that would shame her into stopping it. If he is a grifter too, then you are in major trouble because they are shameless. Not the a-hole. Hide your ring. Often when family won't take no for an answer or pressure you to agree, they resort to taking the item even without consent. I will hide it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling people the real reason why I skipped my friend's wedding? I, 35 female, am still friends with some of the people I went to college with. One of them, Debbie, 36 female, got married this past January after being engaged for 2 years. Early in the planning process, Debbie had asked my 6-year-old daughter, who was 5 at the time, to be the flower girl. We agreed, and she had the dress sent to us right away. We barely spoke about the subject for a while. Then the wedding was delayed by almost a year. The original date was in March of 24. I'm still not sure why. I've heard 3 or 4 different reasons. By the time the actual wedding date came around, the flower girl dress did not fit my daughter anymore. We didn't find out until roughly 10 days before the wedding, admittedly my fault, and I texted Debbie right away to ask what I should do about it. Her first reply was, figure it out. I tried to ask her where she'd bought the dress, where I could get a similar one, or whether it would be okay for my daughter to wear a different dress. I basically gave her a list of ways I could fix this, and asked her what she preferred. Debbie responded with, I don't have time for this. Stop making your whale daughter my problem. Obviously, I decided against attending the wedding after that. As far as I'm concerned, we're no longer friends. And to be clear, I know that up until this point, I was not the a-hole. I didn't tell anyone about it at first, but our absence was obvious. My friends missed me, and my daughter was supposed to be the only flower girl. Whenever Debbie was asked about it, she apparently just said we'd had an argument, but it wasn't a big deal. When our mutual friends and acquaintances asked me, I told them the truth without sugarcoating it or trying to defend Debbie. I even showed my friends the text messages that proved everything. Everyone took my side. About a week ago, Debbie called me. She apologized for what she said about my daughter, but told me I have no idea how stressed she was at the time. She said it wasn't fair for her to lose friends over a mistake she made when she was under so much pressure. Again, I don't think I was in the wrong for skipping the wedding, but I'm wondering whether I took it too far by telling our mutual friends why. Edit? Yes, I know I should have made sure the dress still fit sooner. I already know that was my mistake, and I'm not blaming Debbie for it. That's not what I'm asking about. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Doesn't matter how stressed and overwhelmed you are, you never talk about a child or adult in that way. That's part of the reason why I believe I might have been the a-hole. I don't believe she would have talked about my daughter that way if she wasn't extremely stressed out. Obviously not an excuse, but certainly something I have to take into consideration. The fact that it even crossed her mind is reprehensible and unforgivable. If she had had a go at you for not checking until now, that would be understandable as stress. The fact that attacking a child's physical appearance, when a wedding had been delayed 2 years so of course it wasn't going to fit, was even a possibility for her, makes her someone you should not continue to associate with, and she's now reaping what she sowed. What ticked me off the most about what she said was that she insulted my daughter over something beyond her control. The dress didn't fit because she's growing up, and not for any other reason. I deliberately choose not to buy my friends' children any clothing because I know they're unlikely to last long. Stop making your whale daughter my problem. She actually said that? And you're asking if telling the truth somehow makes you an a-hole? She spoke her truth. Why can't you? Now she has no friends and is trying to backtrack. Shaking my head. Not the a-hole, but you would be if you accepted her back as a close friend, even after an apology. I won't. I will appreciate any apologies that come my way, but we're no longer friends. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-husband I don't care what his girlfriend did to him? My ex and I are long gone, but we have kids, so we see each other often. He complains about everything and believes I'm his therapist. I never cared what he talked about because it's irrelevant. My ex-husband Kevin and I have been divorced for 2 years now. We had been married since we were 23, but he had to ruin it. During our marriage, I saw how far apart we had grown. Kevin had a work wife named Jen. To be honest, I never understood why anyone in a relationship wanted a work wife or work husband. I felt like it was disrespectful. For context, Jen is 24, I'm 34, and Kevin is 35. When Kevin was 26, he was in a bad car accident that left him paralyzed. He was still able to move around and continue working. He didn't have a brain injury, but he started understanding things more slowly than usual. One thing I can say is that he did a lot of work in his wheelchair. He didn't like when people tried to baby him about it. At the time, I didn't think anything of Jen because she was just a co-worker. But then he started spending more time with her and even brought her over for dinner. He missed our anniversary to go out for her birthday. By that time, I knew something was going on, but I really had no proof. Funny enough, Kevin revealed it for me. I saw his text messages with Jen. They were very sexual. You would have thought they were a couple. He wasted so many years of our life together for this? We have kids, but clearly he didn't care. If he was happy with her, then good. Now we both co-parent, but I mostly take care of the kids. They go to their dads, but they'd rather stay with me. Kevin and Jen are still together, and they have a 4-month-old. I found out Jen had to leave college because they had a baby. Recently, Kevin has been texting me about the things he and Jen are going through. They're having trouble in paradise. I would always ignore his messages because it has nothing to do with me. They need professional help. But this happened again. Kevin told me Jen stole his credit card and left him with the baby. She's been gone for 3 days, and he doesn't know where she is. It's not my relationship, so he needs to figure it out. This was the first time I actually responded to his nonsense. I told him I don't care what his girlfriend did to him and to stop telling me his business. He said that he was hurt, and that I was being an a-hole to him. He literally fooled around, and is finding out the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. The grass is always greener where the dogs have been shitting. Exactly, not the a-hole. He chose Jen over you, wasted years of your life, and now wants you to be his emotional support system when it all falls apart. Nah, he can take that mess elsewhere. He fooled around and found out. The grass wasn't greener, it was just fake turf, and now he's stuck with it. Not your problem. Keep ignoring his nonsense and focus on your own happiness. Kevin had a nice vacation and he's ready to come home. He's testing the waters to see if you'll have him back. He likely is the type to not want to be alone, so won't leave until he has another woman to shack up with. Agreed. It's funny how he thinks that complaining about his current girlfriend to his ex will woo her back. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. When my ex-boyfriend of 6 years reached out to me to complain that he and his wife were going through a horrible divorce, I told him they deserved each other and that he was getting it back in spades. She was my best friend. He had bought a ring for me, and we were planning a life together. They were having an affair all along. Good. You are both screwed, and you are finally getting what you had coming to you. Leave me out of it. Frankly, I don't think you told your ex-husband enough about what you thought. Protect your mental health and shut down all non-shared kids' conversations with him. Isn't it bizarre how someone can be so brazenly hurtful? yet think it's okay to reach out for support? It's downright cray-cray.